Did you want one?
Well, gosh, it's terrific to see you all. Who knew that when I used to teach the United States History Survey, I always thought the conversation about the Electoral College was one of the most boring topics known to mankind. And so, who knew that so many of you would want to hear about the Electoral College? And if I really understood the whole thing, then I wouldn't have to do other kinds of work, I guess. So, what I thought I would do is just briefly talk about the founders of the Electoral College just for a second. And then, because you invited a historian, you got to do the history lesson about the elections where the Electoral College really plays an unusual role. And then, after that, I thought we would do some assessment about the pros and cons of the Electoral College and maybe engage in some conversation. I'm not exactly sure, somebody asked me what I thought, and I'm not exactly sure, although I think it was sort of prescient of Hillary Clinton after the 2000 election to suggest that we get rid of the Electoral College, which would have been certainly to her benefit. So the crux of the Electoral College is the crux of trying to understand the framers of the Constitution. And this always makes me really uncomfortable. A lot of people who deal with legal things are convinced that we have to concentrate on the original intent of the framers and always use that as our way of measuring. And I'm not really convinced that that makes a lot of sense, and perhaps it doesn't make a lot of sense with the Electoral College. But clearly, what the framers were concerned about is they were concerned about most of the people in this room having anything to say about the government, because they were wealthy men, slaveholders, and had property, and who thought that was who ought to have something to say about government. So they worked really hard when they were framing the Constitution to try to create buffers, basically, between the people and those who made electoral decisions, and the Electoral College is one of them. It was kind of a compromise. Some people thought that we ought to just let people vote for president. Some people thought that legislatures in states ought to be who's casting votes for president. Remember, in the original Constitution, that was who was casting votes for the United States senators as well. So this is a compromise. And it also is part of the ongoing sort of pressure in the United States to make sure that states have sovereignty and position. The Electoral College is one of the things that's designed to make sure that the federal government doesn't have all the say and that states still have kind of a piece of the action. Hence the creation of the Electoral College based on states. So all of those things, I think, are part of it. I should also say that they kind of did this towards the end. And even James Madison later kind of wrote that it was getting pretty hot in Philadelphia. We're getting pretty tired, and that maybe they didn't pay as much attention to this particular issue as they ought to, because they'd had a lot of other things to do there. And they just, he later said it, it's like a lot of meetings towards the end, the decisions you make may not be as thoughtful as the decisions you made early on. I think the Electoral College may very well be one of those things. So, what do we know about it? Well, we know that sometimes it works better than others. And there are a couple of times outside of there are 5 times when the popular vote and the electoral vote were different, and the people that received the most popular votes didn't get to be president necessarily. I'll talk about those in a second. But there are also a couple of other important ones, and one has to do with the 12th Amendment that I put on your handout. In 1801, there was an electoral college tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, who were from the same party. And Burr was supposed to be Jefferson's vice presidential candidate. But the framers hadn't really thought that there would ever be parties, and we'll talk about that more later. So they never really imagined that these two characters from the same party would tie, and it caused all kinds of issues, and eventually they made a deal. Republicans were one short, and so eventually they had to create this 12th Amendment to make it so that you voted separately for vice president and president. So that's an important one. The other one I think that's worth mentioning before we talk about the ones where the popular vote is different is the election of 1960. And I choose it because I suspect there are a lot of people in this room who remember the election of 1960. They shall remain nameless. And because it reminds us that the Electoral College isn't just an issue in terms of when the vote is close and we have controversy. The Electoral College is the issue because we don't, frankly, and Donald Trump would agree with this, sometimes we don't do such a good job of counting the votes. And counting the votes is pretty important to making this whole deal work the way the framers thought it would work. And in 1960, when Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy ran against one another, it was a very close election. And we know that two states, Texas and Illinois, made the difference. And you may recall that John F. Kennedy's running mate was Lyndon Johnson, who had a little clout in Texas. And he also had a history of messing with the ballots in Texas. And we're pretty sure now that he messed with the ballots in Texas in 1960. And that Richard Nixon probably really won that state. And the other state that's a big issue is Illinois. And you all know about Illinois, the famous Chicago statement, vote early, vote often. We're pretty sure in Illinois that Mayor Richard Daley had some control over the votes and messed in Illinois. And the reason Richard Nixon, later on we found out, didn't contest it is because his supporters had messed in the southern part of Illinois. And so we don't really know who won Illinois, which was a very close one. But it just gives you the notion of what a sticky wicket this whole thing is. So our assumption has to be that the counting of the votes is going to be fair and accurate. And my point is, not so much. So putting that aside, there are 5 times in American history when someone running for president received more popular votes but did not become president. And they all tell us a little bit about this. And so you'll have to indulge me, the historian, in a little conversation about all 5 of these times, because that's the deal. So the first one's in 1824, and it's also the first time they even tabulated the popular vote on a nationwide basis. I mean, they tabulated it in states and counties and that kind of thing, but they never thought to add it up because it didn't matter. Right? Because all that mattered was what happened in the states, and never occurred to anybody that it might even be interesting to know how many national votes there were. And Andrew Jackson in 1824 won both the popular votes and the Electoral College votes as a matter of fact. He received 99 electoral votes. John Quincy Adams received 84 electoral votes. You needed 131 electoral votes to win. And even in history math, which the idea of a historian talking about these numbers runs counterintuitive to all kinds of things I can't even mention. But 99 isn't enough to be 131. So it went to the House of Representatives, which is what the Constitution says is going to happen if we don't have a majority in the Electoral College. The House of Representatives voted 37 times, still couldn't make up their mind till the 38th. And we think some kind of shady deal may have taken place that allowed them, I mean, this could have gone on. They were thinking we gotta go on somewhere. And so John Quincy Adams got to be president. And of course, Jackson beat him in 1828. And one of the things he ran on was that backroom deal of 1824 and how he'd been robbed of the election. So when I listened to the rhetoric about 2016, there's a long history of this in American history, this, who steals elections and what's fair and